This is where freedom reigns.
If you believe in America, if you believe in the Constitution empowers us. It's a new day. America's back. America's back, and America's going to get strong again. We're going to defend America, and we're going to defend our interests.
Liberty's voice, Levin TV.
Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin, and this is Levin TV. Even when laws are passed to stop the destruction of the culture, the indoctrination of our children, well, the educational bureaucrats work around it. Law and order in America only applies to conservatives and Republicans. It does not apply to the left and Democrats. We know this because of Biden and Merrick Garland. We know this because of the Stasi, aka the FBI. We know this because of the open borders, and we know this because the educational bureaucrats themselves sicking police on parents exercising their First Amendment rights to gather, to associate, to speak out. But our kids are extraordinarily vulnerable now. You never would have believed it, would you? But they are the target of constant manipulation. And there's a whole industry out there now where people are getting rich off of equity training and critical race theory and sexualizing our children. It's almost like what we considered perverse as a society 5 years ago is being mainstreamed. Even the drag queens, drag queens? Are you kidding me? Oh, no. All ages should be viewing drag queens. And all the talk about genitalia and whether you're born with the right one, all going on in the classroom. I can remember, I guess I'm old enough, where there was a debate whether there should be sex ed in school. Now, forget about that. The debate is dead. And all the things that people were concerned about happening back then are happening right now. Project Veritas has been targeted by the FBI. It's been targeted by the Biden administration to destroy it. Costs an enormous amount of money to defend yourself against the FBI, no matter who you are. And so when they're going after you under a pretext, like Biden's daughter's notebook, which she apparently left in a hotel or somewhere, or diary, I suppose, you send the FBI to go get it. The FBI doesn't have any jurisdiction over that. And Project Veritas apparently handled it perfectly well. They are a media organization. They didn't have to give it back to anybody, but they refused to purchase it, and they refused to keep it. And apparently they turned it over to law enforcement. And for that, they've been subjected to hell, as has James O'Keefe, the founder and president of Project Veritas. He's had his home searched by a SWAT team in the middle of the morning. Just horrific things. And yet he plugs ahead. So I want you to look at this latest from Project Veritas. This is called the Teaching Lab Headquarters Director, Dr. Quentin Bostic. And he admits to violating state law, sells critical race theory curriculum to schools in Georgia, getting rich off of it, and laughing like hell. Go.
If you don't say the word critical race theory, you can technically teach it.
And it's amazing how you've gotten schools to purchase a curriculum.
And they don't even know what's going on. I always have a good salesman, but I'm also an evil salesman. Like, so bad.
So the public schools have the state funding, right?
They do.
So the state is basically paying for your curriculum without knowing what's in it. Does your curriculum have critical race theory in it?
Yep.
And the government doesn't know.
And they have no clue. And I'm like, this is good.
In order to make sure it's under the radar, how do you?
This is DEI work.
How many schools in Georgia have your curriculum?
All right, stop. DEI work is diversity and equity. And this is how they are now. They have diversity and equity individuals in every school. They have them in every college and university. They're vice presidents, senior vice presidents, they're supervisors, they're executives. And they are now entrenched in the educational bureaucracy. And that's what's going on here, DEI. So those are the go-to people now to push this propaganda. Go ahead.
Two districts actually. So Cook County and then Cobb County.
Wait, your curriculum that is in the schools here in Georgia is just kindergarten?
It's one of people's kindergarten, yeah.
That's so cool. So your CRT stuff is
Kindergarten. It's so good. It's like he's like such an idiot. Like his wife is a lot of stuff in education here. He was a former teacher.
What do you think she would do if she found out there's CRT?
Oh, I would get nailed for sure.
What about these parents who might push back after hearing it?
Who cares? I'm not part of the system. I can't lose I'm not gonna lose my job over it. Worst that's gonna happen is y'all gonna be upset, and I shared some knowledge. That's the worst that's gonna happen.
This is how we handle things. We get sucked in the school, in a classroom.
So we've been sneaking things in the cracks.
And teach kids things under the radar. My license is already gone, so what are you gonna do?
So do you teach in schools now?
I do. I still do, which is insane, right? Which is still insane.
James O'Keefe here in Fulton County, Georgia. Quentin Bostic, who holds a PhD from Georgia State, is a former literacy educator who had his teaching license revoked around 2017. Quentin now works as a project manager for the teaching lab with a $15 million budget dedicated to creating more equitable curriculums. Bostic is now on his own selling curriculums he created to the state of Georgia. He admitted to having multiple private companies where he profits off the curriculums that he sells.
And it's amazing how you've gotten the schools to purchase a curriculum.
And they don't even know what's going on. I always have a good salesman, but I'm also an evil salesman. It's like so bad.
So the public schools have the state funding, right?
They do.
So the state is basically paying for your curriculum without knowing what's in it. How many schools in Georgia have your curriculum?
Two districts actually. So Cook County and then Cobb County.
You make that profit, Mike.
Yeah.
Not
Oh
just
yeah.
mine. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Because the state pays for that.
Correct.
Yeah.
They do. The state pays for it.
The state pays for your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know critical race theory is in it.
Right. Of course. They don't know. They don't know. I mean, so basically, this goes right into the account.
And your account.
Mm-hmm.
Not teaching habits.
Nope. My account.
The problem with this is that Bostic admits his curriculum is rooted in CRT, also known as critical race theory, which happens to be illegal to teach in the state of Georgia. Bostic says that if Governor Kemp and his wife found out what he was doing, Governor Kemp's wife is an educator, that Bostic would be, quote, nailed for doing it.
Is critical race theory illegal in the schools here?
It is, man. You're still bad in the schools. So
But not your curriculums.
Exactly. And on top of that, if you don't say the word critical race theory, you can technically teach it. And people don't know what critical race theory is. So when they see the word, they're like,
Alarm goes off.
Alarm goes off. But if you teach the principles to other people, like, of course. Like,
So does your curriculum have critical race theory in it?
yep.
And the government doesn't know.
And they have no clue. And I'm like, this is good. This is good.
Walking all the way to the bank.
Exactly.
Have to look in the curriculum. What would they find that's like banned, like contraband, illegal?
Books, theories,
Critical race theory.
critical race theory, even like banned books.
So the entire district has, all the schools have them.
And I use them. So, I mean, it's an option in Fulton County, but most of the teachers, because they are teachers of color, are like, I want to use this. So diversity, we're teaching love all humans. And I'm like, behind the scenes, like, teach it like this, though. Like, teach it, make sure you say this, use these words, use this book.
As long as they don't look in your curriculum and see banned books, you're good.
Yeah. And also, in the day, they already bought it. So, like, Lloyd says that you already bought it. So, you waste your money, do it the right work.
So it goes on to the teachers, not you.
Which sucks. But nature of the beast. He's like such an idiot. Like his wife does a lot of stuff in education here. She's a former teacher. And so she does like book donations and the books are just like,
What do you think she would do if she found out there's CRT?
oh, I would get nailed for sure. The worst I can see happening in a weird way, probably I'm taking like my business license or something like that, or like something weird. I'm like, I can still do it. Yeah, keep on consulting. I can keep consulting.
Bostic seems fully aware of his actions of sneaking CRT into the curriculums could get him into trouble. Bostic also talks about gearing his curriculums towards kindergarten-age children, and he explains how critical race theory can be taught to children, quote, under the radar, by labeling it as DEI instead of critical race theory, DEI standing for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
But what about your curriculum? How long did it take?
Oh, like 2-3 years. And it's just kindergarten.
Wait, your curriculum that is in the schools here in Georgia is just kindergarten?
It's one of here just kindergarten, yeah.
That's so cool. So your CRT stuff is
Kindergarten. It's so good. So yeah, so stuff like that. The kids, I mean, you can teach kids things under the radar.
And through your curriculum, good for you. And you know, the only people who would know would be the teachers.
Researchers like me who know it very well.
And you just present it in a way of how, in order to make sure it's under the radar. How do you?
It's a DEI word.
Some of them still won't accept that.
Some of them. But that rate is more accepting, like anti-racist education, or like race theory. Like.
So DEI is like the cover for the CRT.
Bostic appears to be careful with the choice of words he uses to describe his curriculums. He also claims that parents are ignorant, and the goal of his curriculum is to have the students go against their parents.
I hate to say it, but like parents are teachers.
Parents are ignorant.
They are.
And so you're making money off of ignorant parents.
And these kids are also pushing against their parents too. Like, Mom, that's not right. You shouldn't say that.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah, eventually.
To get the parents
To get the kids to influence their parents to make the shift too.
So if parents aren't coming into schools, then the teachers can go and see what they want, right?
It's clear that Dr. Quentin Bostic is willing to use deceptive measures to push his agenda on young students. Stay tuned for part 2, where Bostic explains how he really feels about the Mackenzie Scott-funded organization he works for, the Teaching Lab, or as Bostic refers to it as, the Scam Lab. Stay tuned.
You know, we spend so much money in this country, hundreds of billions every year. And in the name of education, all you have to do is say this is for education, quality education, schools need more money, and they get the money. Whether it's property taxes, whether it is federal funding, whether it's support from the Department of Education in terms of grants, just enormous amounts of money flow into these educational bureaucrats. And now you see all these surrogates, all these others, these individuals, these organizations that make money off of it. It's all left wing. It's all one direction. It's all a grotesque ripoff of not just the taxpayer, but the parents. And even though the parents are starting to pick up on this, and I like to pat us on the back a little bit for this with American Marxism and helping to expose it, discuss it at a national level, the fact is we haven't made a whole lot of headway when it comes to these institutions. Until we can break up the teachers' union, this is going to continue. The administrators come out of the teachers' union. These phony entrepreneurs who rely on state and local monies, federal monies, they come out of the teachers' union. The Democrat Party and the teachers' union really are one and the same. The bureaucracy in the Democrat Party is really one and the same, with a relative handful of exceptions. So now they control what goes on in the classroom. And they control the school boards, and they control the PTAs and the PTOs. And as I say, parents are now onto this, but there's only so much you can do because this has been institutionalized.